So unlike other countries, Portugal, we never had the big drones. We never had the Predator or the Reaper or nothing like that. So we start with a very small thing. So the first operational drone we had, or we still have them, it's the Raven from Aero Environment. It's like around 2 kilos, 1 meter 20 wingspan. It's like around the corner, over the hill kind of thing. And what I can tell you is that that drone exists since 2002.
Okay.
So Americans and other countries have it for a long time. We only got it in Portugal in 2018. But since the implementation of that, and since we start using that, the maneuver forces, infantry, cavalry, but special infantry in African theaters, where you have a lot of vegetation and it's really hard to see a lot in front of you, they have a really good experience with that.
Okay.
So they don't see themselves going in the theater now without having the support of the UAVs from that we were providing, because we can save lives with that. We can make operations much more efficient, and you know, all those things together, safety and efficiency, it's what we want in the terrain. So that was a really good thing. Besides that, we can confirm targets and all those things, and it's very important in the way that we make operations much easier. And before that, you know, armed forces always have that resistance to change. Okay. So when something new comes, it's like, but we were doing things without that. Why we need that now?
Yeah.
But then the things come up, and we are like, oh, this is very good. This is great. So, you know, transition takes time, but when it happens, it's happening like really fast. Okay, now we want 10 of those instead of just one. So that's the thing with the drones. It takes time for you to get to know them, you know, but when you find what you need, and this great tool is like, okay, now how I lived all my life without this. So in the military was a little bit like this. And then in the Air Force with the bigger drone, because the drone was 40 kilos. Drone. I don't like to call it drone. I like to call it UAV.
UAV.
Because
well, I understand, you know, but for many people, it's all UAVs or all drones. Okay, it's a big family. Okay, but, you know, many people don't understand the distinction. To them, it's all drones or all UAVs. But I understand why you want to call it UAV, yeah.
Yeah, but now I'm working more in the drone than the UAV, so sometimes you know, I mix things. It's drones.
It's a big family after all, you know. It's a big family with smaller and larger, you know,
and bigger one, yeah. But then in the Air Force was a really good learning curve, because in the Army we didn't have this airman way of looking at the UAVs. It was, things were taking time. People sometimes were looking like that. That's not an aircraft. That's just like, you know, like a toy. And that's a dangerous thought.
Yeah.
But then in the Air Force, things were much different. In the Air Force, things were much more professional. We made things happening much faster. And the learning curve was exponential compared to the Army. And in the Air Force, we were flying that exactly as if it was a manned airplane, you know. So I mean, my advice to people is, don't look at UAVs or drones as toys. Look at them as another aircraft in the sky, because in the end of the day, we have a lot of responsibility in some extent, because we are flying and people are below us, and sometimes they don't even know that we are there. So we need to be careful when we are flying, and it's not a toy. It's a tool. So we need to be careful. And if in one way or one day we want to be part of this airspace integration, we cannot be amateurs. We need to be professionals.
This integration, it's inevitable. Already people are talking about one environment all the way from satellite to ground. Everything interconnected. It's not tomorrow, but it will happen.
Yeah, for sure. But I think, and this goes to one question that you were asking me before, like bureaucracy and difficulties. And I think one of the big difficulties that will make bureaucracy big is that you have a lot of people that don't look at drones as a machine with responsibilities. They look at like, oh yeah, I'm gonna buy one for my kid, he's gonna fly, and that's it. So that might make the integration harder, because if you are an entity that is making rules, you will not look for the good examples. You will look at the bad examples and you say, look, it will be a lot of bad examples, and these people need to be ruled in a way that everybody can do the same.
And very often the people who legislate for drones, UAVs and all that, they know nothing about drones or UAVs. They haven't even touched one, and they legislate by and they know nothing about it, which is a problem for me also.
Yes, I can give you an example. A couple of weeks ago, I was talking with an American guy, really important guy in the wind industry. And he was telling, look, in the beginning of the drones, when they show up in 2012, 13, when they were like robust enough for in some kind of visual inspection, he said, look, if you want to fly an UAV and you want to make some commercial thing, like that you want to make money out of it, you need to have a private pilot license in America. So, you know, they were overkilling on the legislation. And then they created the part 107.
Yeah.
But that's exactly what you said. In the beginning, people are like, they don't know much about it, but they want to do something about it, and then they or overkill or make something really strange. So yeah, it's
and how
it's
about
part of the.
And how about your transition from the military to the private sector? What advice you comes in mind to you? Because okay, in the military, sometimes you don't really care about the budget. You just order things and the military provides. But in the private sector, it doesn't work that way. So
my advice for anybody that wants to do the same I did, it's that bring all the good examples and the bad examples from the armed forces, because a lot of things can be transitioned to the civilian world. Either the good or the bad. The bad is like, you should not do it like this, and the good that we should do it like this. And then look at your job position, not always as a pilot, but also as a representative, ambassador, and sometimes a salesman for your company and your aircraft. Because in the end of the day, if there is no representation, there is no sales from your side, you will not have a job. So that goes to your the budget. So if you want to have a big budget like the armed forces, you need to make the budget happen. And the way you do it, it's being your ambassador for your new team, for your new company, and sometimes be a salesman. And good word spreads good word, and just be a people's person. That's my advice. Be a people's person, and things will happen.